Welcome to Season 2 of Growth Minded Contractor. I'm Ryan Groth, the founder and CEO of Sales Transformation Group. And in this podcast, it is so exciting what we have coming up. I'll be joined by co-host and our VP of Sales, David Reed, as we talk about all things growth, leveling up your contracting business, sales leadership, technology. Tune in this season and you're going to love it. Welcome, everybody. I am Ryan Groth, and welcome to the Growth Minded Contractor podcast, Season 2, episode number 1. Man, I'm super excited. If you don't know me, my name is Ryan Groth. I'm the founder of Sales Transformation Group. Contracting has been in my blood for a long time, and I went and played sports. I'm a former professional baseball player, had a short-lived minor league professional career, and then switched into contracting. I'm in this industry 10 years. And throughout my journey, I've actually met some amazing people, and one of which is our VP of Sales and my co-host, who I met years ago.
Long time.
And I'm joined by David Reed. What's up, David?
Hey guys, how are you? Super excited to share, some knowledge and talk with you, Ryan, about all the stuff that we've learned. I've spent a lot of time working with contractors. I've got over a decade of experience helping contractors scale their organization on the marketing and sales side. I personally influenced over $100 million in revenue for contractors. So seen a lot of things, a lot of growth, and excited to share some experiences. So hopefully you guys don't have to go through those same problems.
Yes, this podcast is designed for you as a growth-minded contractor who wants to grow your business, grow your sales organization, understand the best technologies to use, what's changing in the industry, what's happening with private equity, what's happening in the landscape of contracting that you need to be aware of so that you can have an abundant life. We want you to crush life, awesome health, awesome family, great sales organization, great culture, making money consistently and seeing the pitfalls in advance so that you can thrive. And that's what this is all about. This podcast is about your growth. And so we'll touch on some personal growth as well here and there, but we're all about the business and you seeing your business transform from one level to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. This is what we're obsessed about. So I'm just really excited you're here, and I'm excited for season number 2. So yeah, let's dive into today's episode, shall we, David?
Awesome.
Hey, real quick, before everybody knows, give us a quick personal, what's David's family like? Where do you live? So that we know where we're at.
So I'm in the DC area. I've been married, actually coming up on my 3rd anniversary here, and I got a 1-year-old little daughter that is finally allowing me to have some sleep at nights, which is amazing.
Sure.
You don't realize how much you appreciate that sleep, and you're like, oh man, I'm hardcore. I'm David Goggins. I can, live on like 3 hours of sleep. And then you get woken up at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning. And it definitely changes you.
No doubt. Been there, done that. So happy for you and your wonderful family. If you guys don't know about me, I have been married 12 years. I live in Dallas, Texas, used to live in Maui, used to live in Florida before that. Yes, we've been bouncing around, but Dallas is where STG's, main corporate mailing address and headquarters is. And I have 5 children. I've been married 12 years to Lindsay, and it's a lot of fun. So I understand the balance that we need to have in this business and this life. And so we're sharing a lot of knowledge. It's going to be a lot of fun. So let's dive into this episode, which is the owner's guide to contractor sales transformation. So this is going to be really helpful for you if you want that transformation, whatever stage you're in. But let's talk about the pitfalls. I'm a big believer that anything that has initial upside, like an easy route, a shortcut, something that seems too good to be true, or watching Netflix on a Tuesday night till 1 o'clock in the morning and eating a late night pizza, that's a good initial thing that feels good right away. And then anything that has initial downside, like go to sleep early and turn off your phone at 9 o'clock and get up and work out and don't eat all the carbs that you want to eat all the time and eat something else. Like those initial choices that have initial downside that don't feel great over time will turn into a compound effect of huge upside. And anything that has initial upside over time has a compound effect of long-term downside. So I like to call that the mountain path, when you start low and you go up over time, versus the wheelchair path, where you start easy, shortcut, cheap, it's not easy, or it's easy, and then over time you're sick, immobile, and you're not flourishing and you're not crushing it.
What are some of those examples that you see contractors making? Because I see them all the time, but I'm curious, what do you see are some of those easy decisions that end up biting us in the long term?
Yeah, the easiest decision, especially when it comes to building your team and trying to make sales grow, is absolutely just hiring your buddy or your best friend. You may have a stud best friend or brother or family member or father or sister or uncle that is crushing sales. However, most of you don't. You probably are frustrated with them, and they're probably not delivering, and they don't do what you ask or what you expect, and you're frustrated. So that's an initial easy decision. Okay. But what's the second, third order consequence of that just kind of impacts the organization and the future of your business, which is your income producing? I bet 90%, 75% of your net worth is locked up in your business. You're not sitting here with, hundreds of or millions or millions of dollars just in other areas, unless you're really, really smart. Most of all your money's in your business. Mm-hmm. And so when you think about you're building a business and you build it wrong, let's just kind of dive into that. Yeah. All right, so David, what happens if, you hire your best bud and he doesn't have great sales experience, but you love him because he's your buddy and you trust him? What's the next thing that could happen?
The problem is then you don't feel comfortable having the difficult conversations to hold them accountable.
To what? Hold them accountable to what, David?
You don't have the right standards within the organization, right? Of like, this is how I run things. This is our organization. This is what I expect from my team, because he's a good friend, man. And he's a good guy, and he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's sold for other people before, right?
Right.
And it just ends up biting you horribly in the long run.
Because they perform probably great out of the gate, and then they lower their performance because the lack of standard and the lack of accountability in the organization, the lack of sales process and transparency, and the lack of coaching you want to give them, because you're probably not coaching him. You're probably not doing a good job coaching him or her. You're probably just expecting them to figure it out because you've known them since you were 13 years old and he's your boy, right? Or your girl, your friend. So what happens is then you're thinking, well, shoot, man, like we need more sales. So let's get some more sales guys, right? Mm-hmm. And then you bring in sales guys. And what do those salespeople do when they see the veteran in the locker room who is doing what?
Showing up late, not following up on his opportunities, not working things properly, not going through the proper sequence. They're like, oh, this is how we do things here. And then you start to create that culture that we all, are trying desperately to avoid, of that toxic culture of, underperformance.
Yeah. And then what do you have to do when sales dip?
You got to spend more money, or you have to sell.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
You're like, oh, but I got to run the business. Oh, but I got some customer calling about this. Oh, I got a supplier bill at this. Oh, I got to talk to the territory manager for the manufacturer and get an update on this and try to work out a rebate. Oh, I got to get finances. Oh, I got to get a line of credit. Oh, I got to do all this stuff. Oh, I got to give my bookkeeper. Oh, I got to give my accounting firm. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. Oh, there's a conference I really want to go to and I really can't go to because I got to sell and I really want to learn from something. Oh, I want to get a business coaching program. All these things you can't do because your sales guys suck and they don't sell. Because why? Because you took the shortcut, which is do nothing right the first time and just wing it.
Mm-hmm. One of the other things that I also see that's kind of closely related to this is where I see a lot of owners that think that they are the greatest salesman ever to walk the earth, and they can never hire another person that's going to have that same skill set as them. And one of the things that you need to do when you think of your, downside initially and your initial upside is you just say, hey, follow me, see what I'm doing, right? Mm-hmm. Just right along, as
Mhm.
opposed to taking the time of actually documenting the process. We all know that recipes work. If you follow the recipe, someone else can do it. But if you just say, hey, just kind of watch it and see how I eyeball things, it's not going to work.
And you know what? You may think because in your own mind, you're the greatest salesman since sliced bread, but dude, you're the owner. Everybody's always going to view you with a different lens. You have an unfair advantage from another salesperson because they know the buck stops with you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not actually that great at actual professional sales.
Mm-hmm.
You have the badge, you throw the badge, you get in the door, and the badge gets you progress
Yep.
in the sales cycle more than a salesperson would. So you actually aren't as good as you think you are at sales,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? So there's a real common pain point that this industry constantly runs into that needs to be fixed and done the right way.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you need a real initial starting point to help objectively standardize and create a real sales system. And so now I'm going to pause for a quick break. I'm going to talk about STG for a second. So I just want to thank STG, whose podcast this is. That's who we are. And what we are a sales training and coaching platform for the contracting industry. In addition, we have a service department training and coaching platform for the industry. And in our platform, we help go through a process called ATMO. We help you analyze your sales team objectively through competencies, a sales plan, your sales KPIs. Okay. And we establish a plan and we do a kickoff and we go to the T part of ATMO, which is train. We train sales leaders and sales people to be successful within a selling system that we use. It's called baseline selling, and it uses a baseball diamond to help you understand where you are in the sales process at all times, to coach to train to reflect upon, and to navigate. So you're not running, everybody's running off of their own sheet of music. They're all singing their own song and dance. Every time it's different. Instead, we create a framework where sales athletes can function well within and be the competitor and the athlete they are within a proven milestone-centric framework. In addition to that, we do group coaching calls to role play like athletes do. They practice a part of their game, and we go deep into that insight and sharpen that specific soft spot in their game. We do this with sales leaders in group calls, and we do in-person trainings. We have people come to us. You can go to salestransformationgroup.com, salestransformationgroup.com, and see our events. And we have more events coming this year. Super excited. A Maui SLI sales leader intensive, a Dallas sales athlete takeover. And we'll talk about the big event at the end that we're doing soon. But the next thing that we're also doing that you need to be aware of is we have sales and service department leader peer groups called the Winner's Circle. And this is where an owner can say, I want to trust my sales leader or my service department leader to STG's coaches and the people in that group. And the people in that group, they're going to go through a bi-monthly, so every 2-week meeting and look at data, sign an NDA, look at each other's numbers, share challenges, and mastermind on a regular basis to build your organization the right way the first time. So revenue can become predictable. You have more money in the bank. You avoid shortfalls and pitfalls and things that are going to make you go broke. Okay.
Yep.
We want you to not go broke. We want you to win, have bigger buildings and not sweat over it. Have a nice home for your family to make memories in. We want your employees to also thrive, and to be successful, you need to professionalize your business. And that's what STG is all about, is professionalizing your sales and service organization and helping you create an amazing culture. So that's a bit about the programs that we have. Let's go back in to our content, the owner's guide for contractor sales transformation. The next thing I wanted just to cover on, David, that you can hit on this for a few minutes, is this idea of what is a sales manager really, or a sales team lead? What's their workload? Like, what should their workload look like? Because I could tell you the sales leadership of owners are honestly, they suck. Most of them are really bad at sales, and they're really bad at sales leadership. However, some are doing a good job, but it's because they had to have delegated everything else to actually make it a priority. What does it really look like, David?
Yeah. So I think the first mistake that I see a lot of times is that sales managers, they want to be carrying a bag as well, and they want them to be closing business. I think that there's a element of that to the business, but I've routinely talked with contractors that their expectation as a sales manager is closing 1.5 million. And if you're doing 1.5 million, you are a pretty damn good salesperson. And you are dedicating way more time to selling than you are coaching and training. And so what we've seen, the best organizations, the most successful contractors, what they're doing is those sales managers, they're spending upwards of 50% of their time actually reviewing calls, working, providing feedback to the team, going through prep calls and call reviews with prospects. So they're spending time reviewing and then providing feedback to the team. So I do that personally with my guys right now. So I have a morning role play that I do with my team every day for my guys. So I have different team members that set appointments, right? So you might have your receptionist, or you might have a call center, depending on the organization, or there might be salespeople. And so you need role play and time that's specific to prospecting and the front end of that, whether that's door knocking, whether that's phone calls, whether it's lead generation. You need time to how you handle those objections. And that should be done as a sales manager pretty much every day. There's not many exceptions where you shouldn't be doing that. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, 50% should be the minimum amount of time they're spent coaching their sales team, because you have a few other priorities. You have to run a sales meeting. You have to know numbers. You have to do one-on-ones. You got to role play. But how do you really know? How do you really know if they're good if you just have your first training and set them out in the field and never touch them again? It takes time to form habits, and the best coaches are fanatical about looking at those details. I can tell you the NFL is so competitive. I'm watching the Netflix series Quarterback right now. It's awesome. And there is so few margin for error for them to make mistakes in this game. And those coaches are all over the details of every part of the game. And let me tell you guys, contracting has not been as competitive as the NFL. And it probably will never get to that point where it's that competitive. However, if you want to be the best, you must have a standard. And that standard is set by who, David?
Sales leader, sales owner. One other thing that I see as a very, very common mistake is when you're a younger organization or a growing organization, you may have only one or two salespeople. And a lot of owners at that point are not having regular team meetings. They're not having one-on-ones. They're like, oh yeah, I just kind of like check in with the guys when they're in the office. And the problem is what I constantly tell people is, like, whether you're investing in a solution like ours or whether you're just following our information, just like with a home, you have to have a firm foundation to build off of. You need to set expectations. You don't start building the house and then set the expectations after the house is already built and you got 5 to 7 salespeople or 3 to 4 salespeople. Those expectations, those standards that you have, those need to be set with employee number 1. And I see a lot of times that guys don't make that, take that time, right? Because it's difficult initially, right? It takes a lot of energy to put that in there, but you need to set that foundation in order to set yourself up. So that way, when you've got 5 salespeople, you got 7 salespeople, you got 20 salespeople, if that's your vision for your organization, that you are setting the right foundation and the right culture for your organization.
You think about rookies that come onto a team. They're not going to come in and just tell everybody what to do. What are they going to do? They're going to look around, earn their stripes, earn respect by who? the veterans, the ones who are already in charge, the ones who are already running the team, right? So how great is it to have somebody who maybe not be the most talented and energetic, but they're doing it the right way with a great attitude, and they hold the line and they back up sales leadership. They back up. They don't talk, you know what, crap about, and they're cancerous and a bad apple spoils the whole cart because they didn't like it. And you, as an owner and a sales leader, have to address that at the core. Here's another massive problem that I see. Taking your best salesperson that wasn't a great salesperson, and because you like them and because they're doing great for you and because they are expressing an interest in being a leader and you just love them or her, you make them the sales manager. Why is that a problem, David?
It's a completely different skill set, right? And so when you bring in that person, they have to be the top salesperson. You need to have a very selfish mindset of I'm looking out for me. I'm trying to win at all costs, right? And as opposed to the sales manager, where they are deflecting all of the praise. They are building the camaraderie within the organization. They are, when the team wins, it's them winning, not me winning, right? When the team is losing, it's me losing, and them, it's not their fault. It's because I made a mistake, right? It's a great book, Extreme Ownership, where they talk about there's no bad teams, there's only bad leaders. And it all comes with the accountability, and it rests on your shoulders as that owner leader. You need to be setting the right expectation. You need to be setting the right standard.
So that is absolutely true. What also, from the revenue standpoint, will be immediately affected?
Yeah.
Take your top salesperson.
Oh yeah.
Make them a sales manager. Here's the terrible part. Your top sales guy now is selling 30% of what they were. Of course, you still wanted them to still sell. And then, so you got 60% of their revenue down, and they're probably carrying 50% of your company revenue. And then you have them coaching people, and they don't do a great job because they're not good team leaders. Actually, as much as they want to think they are, they're not. And then those people don't perform. It's like a total suicide mission, and you don't even know.
Yeah, the reality is, right, that being a sales leader is absolutely a trained skill, right? And if you just throw them in there and just expect that they're going to be able to do that, that is a recipe for failure. And you need to make sure that you're surrounding them with individuals and resources. So shameless plug for our winner circle. That's why we created that, right? Because we're seeing a lot of young owners, young sales leaders that don't have great experience. And I'll tell you, even for me, right? When I was the top salesperson in my previous organization, how Ryan and I knew each other. And, it took me years to develop the skill sets that I had. And then once I worked with several other leaders, and I was absorbing everything that they were saying, like a sponge, in terms of how they structured things, how they structured their team meetings, and how they held their team accountable. And I was just absorbing all of that. But if you don't have that environment, right? If you as an owner haven't been in that scenario to teach that person, and you just promoted a sales guy that was a good salesperson or a good sales gal, and you just promoted them, you have to surround them with people that are going to help instill that knowledge in them. It's so, so important.
And look, more is caught than taught. Like, it's one thing to be told to hold somebody accountable. It's another thing to be held accountable and somebody call you out when you didn't do your thing and you felt what it felt like to straighten up your spine and get your act together and get results out of it. That is important. That's why I love athletes, guys. I just love athletes, because if they played high performing sports at any level and they weren't just this crazy unicorn of talent, they had to develop some serious skills of being coachable. Therefore, they know what it's like to coach. And that's why I love coaching so much, because I know that the coach, that hat of coach, is a role that we in this world all need. We have fathers, we have bosses, we have mentors, we have friends, we have spiritual leaders, we have those people, but the coach is a very powerful person in your life. They're
Mhm.
going to speak into your life in a way that other people won't.
Mhm.
And that's why sales leaders need coaching. That's why sales leaders need to be a coach, because I don't hear enough in this industry where a salesperson says on a panel, at a stage, at a conference, or on a podcast, this sales manager changed my life. This sales manager changed the trajectory of my career. It was this sales leader who changed me because they called me out and nobody else called me out. And that is what we need more of. We're hearing more of that owner effed me over with my commission check than
Yep.
my sales leader, my owner changed my life. And that's what we need to change in this industry. And that's why I love this role. Okay.
So one more story to kind of give a little bit more context. So I worked with our CEO Ryan, and I met each other like 10 years ago, and my CEO was ruthless. Like, this man was a savage. And I sat right outside of his office for like 2.5 years. David, don't say it this way. Don't do it this way. David, don't do it this way. Right. And like, I hated it in the moment, but that man literally made me well over $1 million, right? In the education that he gave me. And could he have delivered it better? Sure. Right. Are there things that like we could still improve about the process? Yes. But shout out to Chris. He made me a ton of money,
Chris
and
Morentis.
he absolutely transformed my life for sure.
Shout out to Chris Morentis. You're the man. Awesome. Well, hey, let's land it with one more topic. We'll be quick here. So a question that you need to be thinking about: owner's guide to scaling or growing, owner's guide to contractor transformation is what to automate and what to delegate so that you can focus on driving revenue. Okay. So I have a couple of points for you. First one is tracking and reporting.
Mhm.
You need a CRM tool. You need a software that can give you insights, can give you information, can give you reports, and you're not wondering what in the heck is happening with my business. And I have no information to make any decisions. It's just a gut feel. And when I have a gut feel, what do? I end up making an emotional decision because we had a bad 30 days and I fire somebody and then I'm in trouble.
Yep.
Okay.
Facts.
You need to
Facts.
have that. Figure it out, people.
Yeah. I think the other thing is that you also need to understand the model. I hear far too many business owners that I know my closing percentage. I know roughly what my closing percentage is, but there's multiple other metrics in your funnel that are going to help you diagnose where the problem or where the pain point is, right?
Sure.
From your leads to appointments, what's that percentage? From your appointments to qualified appointments, right? Not everybody you go out to is a person you want to actually pitch, right? How many from qualified do you actually present and then present to close? Like that's the very bottom of the funnel. And like most owners know, hey, I know this one number here, but there's 6 or 7 other numbers. And the number that has the biggest impact is that number at the top, right?
Totally.
I can get more leads to convert into appointments. That waterfall all flows down, right? But we need to have those numbers and understand that part of the business.
Absolutely. And the next thing you need to automate or have a team member do is take that information and put it inside an input tracker, a KPI tracker, whether that's an Excel spreadsheet or a software tool that looks at the weekly KPIs.
Yep.
Weekly. What does our salesmen need to do every single day? And every organization, depending on size and model and everything, will have slightly different ones. There are some that are pretty much common and important for everybody to pay attention to, but you need to have that input section so that you can just look at it and see trends and just, are we on track? Because I could tell you good years are composed of good quarters, and good quarters are composed of good months, and good months are composed of good weeks, and good weeks are composed of good days, and good days are composed of good usage of your hours, right? And we need to measure the behaviors that lead to success, not just the lagging indicators of success, which is the rearview mirror. What are we doing every day? Let's measure that. And let's get our sales organization fired up about that, because That's what's going to help them succeed. That's what's going to help them build the discipline. It's going to help them build the skill. It's going to help them know if they're on track or off track, because salespeople need to know that.
One thing I'll say is along those lines, right? I have my team send me an end of day report of the things that they accomplish within the day, right? So for my guys that are out there making calls and trying to set meetings, hey, how many calls did I make? How much talk time did I have? How many appointments did I schedule? How many, deals did I influence that closed one? And every single day I'm looking at that. Every single day I'm listening to the call recordings that they send me to provide feedback of like, oh, wow, guys, like we did there's a lot of room for improvement on this specific call, right? And then I do morning role plays where we work through some of those things with my clients. And like, that's the type of expectations that your manager needs to set up. And you need to look for tools that are going to help automate that sort of stuff.
Absolutely. So a couple more things, David, that I think that folks need to be paying attention to. In the home improvement, homeowner sales motion space, we do a lot of commercial sales training, and this software in particular is being used widely by the home improvement sale, roofing in particular. It's called RealVoice. And so RealVoice is a partner technology tool. It's an AI coaching platform that takes your field reps, takes their phone, and it records and breaks down, analyzes, and through AI gives insights on what your sales reps could do better, and what, as a sales manager, how you need to improve them and coach them, and gives you real-time feedback. Essentially, it's a virtual ride-along. And ride-alongs, you probably do one a month and maybe one a week. And if you're an absolute savage sales manager, you're doing one 4 times a week, and you're one with every rep, and you're doing a great job with that. This will automate that process and allow you to do more ride-alongs more frequently, provide more feedback to your team so you can coach them effectively. And the tool helps give you insights on what to coach on, which I think is awesome. So check out my boy Sebastian, my man from the Dominican.
He didn't sponsor this episode, so we'll have to work that out for next time. But it is a really good product. I hear a lot of contractors that are using it, and it is an essential component. If you're really scaling your organization and you're growing, you need to understand what are your people saying in the homes, because when they come back and the prospect said, I need to think about it. How did they respond? Right. Or I need to talk to my partner, or whatever the stall objection is that they gave you. We need to understand how we can coach that behavior.
Absolutely. So good. And a couple more, David, for us to look at. What else can you automate? Well, onboarding, training, tests, and quizzes. So we have an LMS platform called Perform LMS. We have a system that allows you to put your own SOPs, your own unique customized sales collateral and things that you need your sales reps to know to be successful. Manufacturer training, right? Different things that you need to instill. So we love that. We use it. We have our clients use it. It helps take time off of the training and coaching, training and onboarding. You should also delegate coaching. Another plug for us, we can help coach your reps, because most of the time you don't have time. And because you don't have time, you don't do it. Because you don't do it, they're closing less than you want, but you've already invested 4 years into them. So you don't want to let them go. And so you tolerate poor performance, and then they suck, and then you're not hitting your numbers, and then you're disappointed. That's why you should delegate that. Last couple things. You can also delegate how to evaluate your team. 1, do a secret shopper and get somebody to be a secret shopper and give you feedback on how the sales rep did. That's one way you can do it. Another evaluation tool is you can use the tool by Objective Management Group, in which we're a partner of, and it does a measurement of selling competencies with your sales managers and your salespeople, and it puts them in a benchmark, and it shows what's weak and what's strong. And it's like an MRI for the sales performer. And it shows not just that MRI and measures their mindset and all their competencies, but it gaps you. It shows you what does that person need to do to improve objectively and professionally, not subjectively with somebody's opinion who can impact your company through one emotional day. Okay.
Yeah.
So those are some things that we want to just highlight. And, guys, we're really proud of what we do at STG. We are passionate about helping contractors win and be more successful. We're the #1 sales training and coaching platform for the industry. And I'm just looking at our body of work and the people we worked with. I'm so grateful to see them succeed. Sales managers getting hired, growing their sales organization, owners having more time to work on the business and learn how to be a better owner and a better leader. So, David.
Yeah, one thing I want to add before we wrap up here is that one of the things that we provide for contractors that are attending our webinar or our podcast here today is a complimentary sales and recruiting analysis. So if you go to our website, there's a little chat box that'll pop up. You can schedule some time for us to have a conversation where we'll actually take a look at how your organization is structured and give you some recommendations based on what we're seeing in the marketplace. We're talking anywhere from, probably, 700 to 1,000 contractors annually. So we've got a pretty good sample size of what we're seeing the top guys doing. And we'll give you guys some very specific recommendations that are tailored for your business. So if you like that, check out our website. They'll be in the show notes as well, linked in there. So that way you can get connected with us.
Yeah, definitely set up a call, see if you think we can help and if we think we can help you. All right, so last thing, I'll wrap this up. September 13th, 14th, and 15th, we are hosting at the Renaissance Hotel in Dallas, Texas, our second year of the Transform Conference. It's the #1 event for growth-minded contractors. Now, this event is very much, if you're listening to this, you're probably a person that would love to be at this conference. We're going to have some amazing keynote speakers that are outside of industry. They're going to bring some amazing insights. We have industry guest speakers that are going to do such a great job. We have an industry panel. We have guys who focus just on owner operating systems that do an amazing job. We're going to have our vendors and partners. We're going to have a technology panel, an industry disruptor panel, a commercial sales director panel, a residential sales director panel, a service class. We're going to have an offsite class at K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing and National Roofing Partners to do a sales leader intensive, to do a workshop for salespeople and a service masterclass. It's going to be amazing. We expect that it's going to be better than last year, and we have some incredible guest speakers. Go to thetransformconference.com, thetransformconference.com, and you should be able to register. What's crazy is that the price for the ticket is only $495, which is crazy cheap. And if you get our hotel rate, we only have a $250 a night rate that we've been able to secure for the event that you just pay us to handle because we're already taking care of it on the back end. And so it's an amazing price for $495 for 2.5 days. And you're going to absolutely love it. We're going to provide lunch and some refreshments throughout the day. We believe this is the best conference for you if you're a growth-minded contractor and you want to be around the best in the business and learn from us at STG and our trusted friends. So, all right, David, close us out with the wrap up here.
Yeah, awesome. So just to kind of recap in 30 seconds, what we had talked about here today is when you think about your business, right? Often the decisions that are the easiest and are the simplest typically have compounding negative impacts for your business versus the decisions that are harder on the front end are typically going to have compounding positive impacts. Creating scripting, documenting your processes, setting expectations for employee 1 is more labor intensive, but employee 5, employee 7, now we're really setting ourselves up. We're moving in the right direction. We talk about our sales manager that we bring on. We should be spending at minimum 50% of the time focused on just call recordings and scripting and working through with our team to make sure that we are elevating their pitch, right? Making sure that we're presenting things in the right way. We should be working on our recruiting process, setting clear expectations, running team meetings, running one-on-ones, going through people's pipelines, right? Doing those things. That's what your sales manager should be doing, not out there selling and trying to close business. That is, the goal is how do we multiply their skill set, not get an incremental bump for their efforts. Last, we talked about what are the things that we can automate. right? Making sure that we've got a CRM with the right KPIs that we're tracking so we know our business can make educated decisions. We've got tools and technology, call recording and voice tools that are going to allow us to help scale and compound our impact and ultimately drive to a more successful outcome.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us and listening to episode number 1 of season 2 of Growth Minded Contractor. Like, share, subscribe. We hope you love this. This should be coming out on a regular basis. We're going to be recording every single week because we know we got some fire for you. So hope you guys enjoyed the time, and we look forward to talking to you later. Thank you, David.
Love it. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.